Okay, 221 4matic. This 4matic principle will apply to a lot of 4matic vehicles, 204s, 212E classes, GLKs, pretty much any Mercedes vehicle where the front differential is mounted to the bottom of the engine, in the sense of the left front drive axle runs through the oil pan. Intermediate shaft bearing, these can make noise, and I feel like a lot of people don't investigate these or even know about them. We've pulled a couple of these out and have found that they're either borderline seized, or there's no grease remaining in the actual bearing. Yeah, this is the drive axle that it supports. This portion runs through the oil pan, which I'll show in a second, and again it supplies power through supplies power to the left front axle. Okay, here's the part number: 112-980-0115, which is this part right here. Here's the bearing itself. Now, this is very difficult to do with one hand, but very smooth. Now, naturally, it would be very smooth because there's fresh grease inside. But you'll see the old bearing when I get the old one out. This is going to make a horrendous noise. Now, with the vehicle up in the air, remove the plastic belly pan. I unplugged the steering solenoid connector. Okay. You have two transmission cooler lines, and they're held up against the engine with these band clamps, I guess you could call them. On a 278 car, they're attached in 3 spots. So there's a E10 that goes in the front, one in the middle by the drain plug, okay, for reference, and then you've got one in behind the drain plug. Now, the reason you need to remove these is there's an aluminum 12mm plug that goes up in here, okay? As you can see, the drive shaft runs through the oil pan, through here. Now, the reason I don't like this bearing is this will be very difficult to show with one hand, but there is some in and out movement here and a click, and that play isn't in the CV shaft, it's actually in the bearing itself. So that's why we're going in to replace this one. Okay, this video is going to be terrible, but just to show you what I'm doing, you need to remove the E24 Torx axle bolt, which is, which is this guy here. Okay, remove the cap that covers this E24. This is the 12mm bolt that I was referring to that goes up through the bottom of the oil pan. There's your axle. I've seen videos online where guys will pound out these two joints to get this out far enough. You don't need to do that. This is way easier to split the upper joint and then just remove the lower section of the sway bar. And this just, as you can see, it flops out far enough to get the axle out. Now, when you're sliding the axle out, you can see it's splined there. You have to spray the splines. If you don't, and this is seized, if you start pounding on it with a hammer and a drift, you run the risk of breaking the oil pan where the snap ring actually holds this shaft in. The only thing that's holding this axle shaft from coming out is, again, that snap ring. So now we're on to the next fun part of way down there. There's a snap ring that has to get removed. Okay, so here's the axle removed from the vehicle. This is the old bearing, and the bearing sits on this. The bearing sits on this shaft, but it can only go on so far, so you don't have to worry about where it's supposed to get mounted, it sits right up against this ridge, okay? Now the old bearing, I'm not sure if you can hear that, but the bearing is toast.